this is Zach May with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 2nd of December. Starting off with the S&P, which is hitting resistance there towards the 68.60, 68.70 zone, which was resistance back in the early part of November, the earlier part of November. Hopefully we'll clear that with an end-of-day close through at least 68.80 and then head to the top of the rising trend channel there from April at 70.50. Hopefully, we're expecting to do that by the end of this month as a sort of end-of-year rally. On the downside, at least while looking for the upside, while we're above the 50-day line at 67.23, which is obviously 67.27, obviously a potential support area. Worst case, if we have a rug pull down to the floor of the channel there at 65.90, but really expecting this market to stay on the right side of that 50-day line. Moving on to the Nasdaq 100, and here the situation is that we broke that line, but then had second thoughts. Let's say lots of resistance towards the 25,600, 800 zone. So maybe can't really break that on the first go. But we have the 50-day line there at 25,000, and above that, looking for the top of the channel there towards 27,000 by the end of this month. Rug pull, hopefully no lower. Any rug pulls no lower than 24,000, which does look, to be fair, quite well embedded in this market since the middle of September. On to the stocks, and first one is coming up, if I can type it in correctly, which is Beyond Meat. Here we've had obviously quite a ride. Just interesting here that we've broken recent resistance there around the 109 level, so 109 cents, that is, in this case, and looking for progress at least towards the 50-day moving average at $1.68. Even if we then fall back again, you see on previous rally we got up to the 50-day line and then came back down again. But what a journey that stock has been. The next on the list is Fitell Corp, and here another stock where it's been quite a wild ride. Interesting that it looks like we've got a bit of a saucer bottom on this situation, and we also gapped down there at the beginning of last month and gapped up at the beginning of this month. So that's a bear trap island reversal, one of the strongest situations around, in the sense that you've got wrong-footed the bulls and then wrong-footed the bears. Ideally looking for somewhere in the, at least up to the old support there from October around $1.89, and then obviously after that maybe up to the 50-day line $3. But let's go for the 189 first and be rather more conservative. Upside valid certainly while we're on the right side of $1, I think, for that situation. Moving along to Fly E, and here after a price action like a heart trace monitor, we're in a broadening triangle base, and trying to actually focus in on that. You can see that managed to sort of flare up in terms of the share price yesterday, a little bit more on the upside there towards the $24 level possible, and we'll be looking for that at least while we're on the right side of $10. You can see the 50-day line there at $10.74. A new one to look at least for our purposes, coming up, and here we've got K-Tech Solutions. You can see we've got a rising trend channel base. We've broken through the 50-day line there at $1.20. Above that, looking for a rather ambitious $2.60 by the end of next month. That's on the basis that there is an extended bit of momentum and build on this situation, and we've just broken through that RSI 50 after 2 attempts. You tend to get a bit of a logjam effect after such a setup. We return to the following stock, which is Nexters. Here we bounced off the 200-day line, gapped up as well, trading near the 50-day moving average around current levels. But if we can get through $25, looking for $40 by the end of next month, end of day close through 25 should be enough to do the trick. In the meantime, ideally we stay on the right side of $22, which is recent broken resistance. The next stock is Smart Logistics, and here also sort of flared up after a little bit of a rather heavy breakdown. Recent resistance around the $1.90 level. Above that, looking for at least the top of the range towards $2.50. Best case is up towards the $3 area, which was resistance on the way down back in October. Moving along to Tianci, and here we've got a broadening triangle base. Very strong candle yesterday within that broadening triangle, and key reversal to the upside as well. Above the 40 cents mark, looking for, quite simply, the 50-day line at 61 cents, hopefully in coming days. On to the last two, and the first one is Wheeler Real Estate, and here Another situation where we've got a broadening triangle base. The reason for the inclusion today is that we've got a clear example of bullish divergence, so lower lows for late November, but a much higher RSI trace, and looking for the top of the triangle there as high as $5.90 by the end of next month. If we stay above the initial Friday resistance around $3.15, I think the exact level, $3.14 in fact. Last on the list is Exicure, and here rising trend channel base. We've broken recent resistance around the call it the $5 level, above $5. Looking for best case scenario by the end of next month up to the top of the channel and the 200-day line through $7.50. So a punchy call there, but we gap through the rising 50-day line to start the week, and that is a very strong signal, or can be a very strong signal. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.